Hello, welcome. It is Money&Markets and I'm Charles Wood, your host. Now, in business, many a time when we have conflicts, there's always that appetite to want to take the litigation way. But experts are telling us that there are other less costly ways we can settle our business disputes. And this brings in the concept or the aspect of arbitration. In our first segment today, we explore what is entailed in this and the advantages it presents over and above litigation.
Yes, Cancer, it's nice to have you on the show, Money&Markets. You're most welcome. From where you sit and according to what we are seeing right now, what's your prediction? How are the number of cases going to increase? And this will be affecting the economy. The courts, of course, incur a lot of money to pursue.
I hate to be the prophet of doom, but I do also mediate matters at the commercial court. And so I know the kind of business disputes or commercial disputes that are already starting to come through. So if you look at the whole perspective, the economy, who comes to the commercial court? So you have like banks who already we have a lot of distress on facilities, loan facilities. We have supply chain disruptions. You have trade disputes. You saw during the time of the lockdown, a lot of goods were stuck at the border.
Yeah.
Because of the measures that were given by government.
Yes.
So you have a lot of supply chain disruptions that happened. You have, in terms of construction, we have a lot of construction disruption that occurred because of the lockdown. So if I'm to predict that if people do not become aware and start dealing with these issues without a general blanket of, okay, let us go to court, it would be a doom. I mean, we're already feeling the loom, but it will move to doom because we'll find that a lot of matters will be taken to court, and of course, rightfully so. It's not that it's wrong to go to court, but strategically as a business, you have to ask yourself: does it add value for me to go to court if I have another alternative way that I can get the same result? So you explore those. In as much as you're conflicting, your interest is to, one, be paid if you are the supplier, or two, find a way you can mitigate the loss that you had as the receiver. Okay? So otherwise, what happens is when all these matters go to court, there will not be exchange. There won't be exchange for value, exchange of resources. Everything will be stuck until the court rules on what kind of disruption, who was wrong, was it a miscommunication, was it in terms of, contract performance, what went wrong, and that will take time. So you find that all this money that could have been paid out if people had resolved issues arising from COVID in an alternative way will now be stuck in court. And remember, while this money is stuck in court, it accumulates interest.
True.
It accumulates interest, value for money is lost. So you find where you had a contract where you are supposed to pay about 10 million and your matter is resolved in the next 3 to 5 years, which is the timing now that you take to actually litigate a commercial dispute. The value of 10 million is gone. You are paying more than you were supposed to have paid in terms of interest, in terms of costs. So I think businesses have to realign and rethink. And transaction advisors, whether they're lawyers, whether they're financiers, whoever is in that business, however small it is, it's time now to sit and think strategically. What other options do we have? And have interest-based negotiations. I mean, it's no longer a matter of who's right or who's wrong. We are way past that. COVID happened and no one can pinpoint. So now it's for us to get together as a country, as businesses, as individuals, to rethink our strategies. Going to court, having a win or lose approach, having a litigious approach, is that the best approach to this? And once you answer that question, then I think our economy will start seeing prospects of us realigning ourselves back to getting to where things were.
Maybe cancer viewers there would love to know more about this arbitration issue. Just stress it a little more.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you talk about alternative dispute resolution, these are alternative methods to the traditional court, if I can say. Alternative dispute resolution has been there for as long as time. If you remember, we all know traditionally as Ugandans or any African society, every time you had an issue, there would always be that person. Either you go to the community or you go to a leader or whoever it is and you bring your matter before them and they, you discuss it until you find a solution, and once you find it, you go with it. And things were simple. Until, we got into British colonialism, things started becoming more processed, more structured, no cases have to go to court, and that's what started becoming the mainstream kind of dispute resolution. But now we refer to it as alternative. It is recognized by law. There is a law, Arbitration and Conciliation Act in Uganda, and under it we have many mechanisms. Things like negotiation. When you have a dispute, you can get an expert, a neutral third party. They come, negotiate your dispute. It's you have mediation, you have arbitration, you have conciliation, you have an expert evaluation. There are so many methods. So it's up to the parties and their advisors to, examine that dispute and see which mechanism will work best for us. And of course, the advantages of it, like I said, it's interest-based. What is our interest? As a business, for example, I'm a law firm, I have no interest of being taken to court all the time. I might go to court, but I don't have money to put in saving myself from any judgments that will be given. So it's interest-based negotiation. Like I said, landlords, tenants, any other disruption that has happened in business, what is our interest? My interest is to get paid. My interest is to have my goods delivered.
Yes.
COVID occurred. We cannot pinpoint who was the cause. How do we get back to the table? The other thing, it's very cost effective. You determine how much. From the word go, I'll tell you, this is how much I'll charge to mediate your matter or arbitrate your matter. And it's known and it's a shared cost. So there's that engagement. You go to court, of course, you file your fees and what, but because of the time that it takes, you never know how much at the end of the day that your lawyer will charge you, because there's no control of time. With alternative dispute methods, you have control of time. You can agree that within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, our matter should be resolved, and you work within that time. There is the issue of confidentiality. I mean, for any mediation or any ADR to happen, the principle is based on confidentiality. I mean, you've seen what happens in our court cases. Once you file your case, it's in the public domain. A matter that started, remember, any contract starts as a private relationship. You come here, you offer to, provide me media services, we are in a very good relationship, we sign our contract, no one knows. But when miscommunication, any miss that happens, like COVID, that's a miss. No one predicted it. We end up going to court, for judgment on a matter we started privately. So you see, something doesn't add up. Of course, there are exceptions, like fraud. If there is fraud, you need to seek for judicial remedy. Fraud in a contract, if it's a contract that was against public interest, there are those exceptions. But ideally, as a principle, any matter that was started privately should not be taken out to the public.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's no doubt that Uganda is naturally blessed with good soils and rains, and of course the people that love to work. Don't forget that Uganda also has one of the youngest populations in sub-Saharan Africa, if not the world. Now, this places us well, or gives us a better footing in the agriculture subsector, specifically the grain subsector. And indeed, we've proven to the world that we can be major players, only that there are a number of bottlenecks, a number of hurdles. Some are structural, others are related to the environment under which we operate, but then also others are related to the environment of doing business. Today we explore what is being done to turn around that gloomy picture so that the grain subsector can fully realize its full potential. A combination of poor funding and the resultant poor infrastructure has seen a jump in Uganda's post-harvest losses in grain subsector right from the farm. Reports show that in 2017, the country posted post-harvest handling-related losses in maize of 17.6%, while millet and rice posted 12.4% and 13.5% respectively. Today, the Warehouse Receipt Systems Authority is enlisting the support of private warehouse operators to stem this problem.
And we are coming up with a joint action agreement. You know, we have policies of government to implement, and we implement by and through and with members of the private sector. So for our case, as Uganda Warehouse Receipt System Authority, the Green Council members are offering warehouses and operations. So for members of the public to work with the warehouse receipt system, we will go through the infrastructure owned by the members of Green Council. So in this joint action agreement, we are proposing some terms. We are going to work with you, we are going to schedule people, we are going to promote this and that, and this is your role. You must open your facilities for the public to use, you must offer receipts, you must clean the grain and the commodities, you must standardize everything for them at a fee, you must offer them a service. Remember, these are private warehouses, but here we are working with them and asking them to offer public service.
While welcoming the initiative, the Grain Council members are calling for more support, especially from financiers, stressing that it will be crucial to help Uganda optimize its grains potential.
We want more funds to be put in the sector for value addition, for improvement and expansion of the infrastructure. This is at the processing level. These are storage facilities, silos, processing facilities. Already we have substantial storage capacities. And what has been a major problem, they are not all operating at full capacity. The reason being is the lack of working capital. I think the finance institution should wake up and really resolve this kind of problem.
The players are especially concerned about the risk averseness of most lenders when it comes to financing agriculture.
We are still fighting because if you compare our average financing costs here, even for agriculture and agro-processing, they are actually higher than they are in other economies like Kenya, like Tanzania. And to be competitive and to take advantage of the regional market, we ought to be borrowing at rates probably 8, not more than 8%.
To the Warehouse Receipt Systems Authority, uplifting the grain subsector and dealing with the pertinent issues like post-harvest handling losses and prices would take a concerted effort that brings together the public, private sector investors in the grain business, and the financial sector. And it's a journey that the authority is already embarking on. With that story, we'll take a very short commercial break. Man and Markets will continue after that.